guys, how you doing? I hope you're having a good day, and if not, I hope I can make it a little better. So, it was International Day of Happiness on Wednesday. Yeah, I'm a little bit late, but I figured what better way to test out my new Copic markers than to draw a page of everything that makes me happy. Maybe you'd like to join in and have a go at drawing what makes you happy too. Let's get started. So I've got my small list of everything that makes me happy at the moment. It is not complete. I'm sure I will add more items to it as I go. I've just jotted down little ideas of like icons I can draw to represent everything that makes me happy. So for instance, for pottery, I've got a pot. For Digimon, I've got an egg. For Folkestone, I've got a lighthouse. Just like little symbols, because I think it would be really cute to surround this phrase, happiness is, with little icons of everything that makes me happy. If you're curious, this is marker paper, so it should work really well with the Copic markers. And yeah, I'm just gonna start going in by sketching the icons for everything that's on my list using a Helix Oxford erasable colouring pencil. Gosh, I love these. And yeah, maybe you want to sketch along with me to create your own happiness is list. Let's get started. So first item on my list that I'm going to draw is bubble tea. I absolutely love bubble tea. I've loved it for decades, ever since I used to go to university in London and I'd pop into Chinatown to get some. I love the tapioca bubble tea with milky items. My favourite is chocolate with the salted cream crown, and I love fruit bubble tea with the popping boba. My favourite popping boba is lychee. It just seems to accompany all the different flavours of fruit teas so well. I prefer mine kind of sour though, so I always have it with no sugar. Do you have a favourite bubble tea flavour? Let me know in the comment section below. And next up on my list is my little darling Norma. And speak of the devil, who's this? Norma. Okay, I'll be back in a minute. And next up is another favourite food, Black Forest Gâteau. That's chocolate cake with cream and cherries. Oh, it's a dreamy combination for me. Have you ever tried Black Forest Gâteau? Next up is some letter paper and my fountain pen to represent my love of using my fountain pen and handwriting letters, especially to my pen pal. Do any of you guys have a pen pal? Do any of you guys like to use ink or fountain pens? I've actually gone on a splurge recently. I'd like to do a video showing them off to you. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see. We're back with food, and this time is basic and simple. Chocolate. The next symbol represents my boyfriend. It's a bicycle because he absolutely loves cycling, especially road cycling. I'm really awful at cycling. I have no sense of balance whatsoever. So I do have a bicycle and it still has training wheels on, but I'm going to keep trying because I'd love to go on a cycling holiday with him at some point. Maybe around Lake Garda. Actually, can you recommend anywhere that's nice to cycle? maybe you could have guessed this from when I was drawing the Black Forest Gateau, but one of my favourite fruits are cherries. So here's a bunch for you. Next up is a mum tattoo to, well, represent my mum. I don't have a tattoo, whether it's a mum tattoo or any other kind of tattoo. Maybe in the future, I'm not sure. Do any of you guys have tattoos? Do they mean something special to you? Ooh, time for more food. And this time it's a British classic. It's a scone with clotted cream and jam. And you can't have scones without a lovely cup of tea, and that is something that I also really enjoy these days. I used to not like tea, but then I discovered that there was more tea to drink rather than the basic English breakfast tea. Some of my favourites include Earl Grey, Russian Caravan, and Darjeeling. You know what? One day in the future, I'd like to do a series where I draw my favourite teas as people. Let me know if that's something you'd like to see. Next up, I wanted to draw something that represents my love of the music and films of Rob Zombie. But the theming of this illustration so far has been really cute. I didn't really want to ruin it by doing anything kind of scary. I did think maybe I could draw Fishboy from House of a Thousand Corpses, but you know what? I'm going to save him for Mermaid. So I remembered there are many references to rabbits in that film as well, so here's a cute bunny. Now I'm onto some savoury food, and I absolutely love anything spicy. Oh, I don't know where I got it from. I think I grew up eating a lot of curry, so maybe it's just been ingrained in me. Let me know, do you like spicy food? Do you have a favourite curry? Can you recommend one to me? Next up, we have a Rikishi, otherwise known as a sumo wrestler. I really love watching sumo wrestling, so I had to include him, but he also represents my love of Japan in general. And talking about my love of Japan, here's some Japanese food, sushi. My favourite Japanese food is actually sashimi. However, I figured adding some rice to it and making it sushi would read a bit better visually. Do you have a favourite kind of sushi? Do you like sashimi? Next up is a symbol that represents my love of Western professional wrestling, even though that can also include Japanese professional wrestling, but just not of the sumo kind. I thought of all the different symbols that I could use to represent it, but you know what? I kind of love hardcore wrestling most of all, so it's not just a baseball bat, it's a barbed wire wrapped baseball bat. Sorry! So, what do you get if you combine spicy food with East Asian food? That's right, you get spicy ramen. It's my favourite easy snack when I just can't be bothered to cook for myself. Oh, Oh, now these are lifesavers. These are my AirPods. I don't know what I ever did without them, especially when I have to take train journeys where you're surrounded by people who don't know how to use their phone and they're just having private conversations on loudspeaker, or they're listening to TikTok or YouTube or a podcast without putting their own headphones in. It represents my love of, using my phone, as well as listening to music and audiobooks. And I guess also me time. Next up is something that always soothes me when I'm not feeling so great, and that's hot chocolate. And I'm probably surprised to no one, but my favourite kind is Costa's Black Forest hot chocolate. You can only get that one at Christmas, which makes it so much more exciting when it comes around. And down in this corner is Otis, my tropical pitcher plant. He's named after the Rob Zombie character Otis, so I guess he represents two different things. Next up is ice cream, because I love ice cream, but also it represents one of my favourite places in mainland Europe to holiday, which is Lake Garda. It doesn't matter if it's rainy or shiny, there's always something lovely to do, even if it is just staring at the lake. Do you have a favourite ice cream flavour? I discovered there a flavour called Super Iglezy, which means English soup, but it's trifle flavour, plus chocolate. Very yummy. Next up, we have a book. It represents all sorts of literature that I read, whether it's fiction or non-fiction, manga or comics, and also audio again. I just really love consuming literature, what can I say? What are you reading or listening to at the moment? I'm always looking out for new recommendations, especially in manga and comics, and I guess audiobooks too. And down here in this corner, these little suspicious things are Smints. They're a recent discovery. I used to have them way back when they were very tiny, but is it just me, or have they doubled in size? I'm really sad that you can't get the lemon ones in the UK anymore, but I love the extra strong ones. And this is a paint palette to represent art. I really could have drawn so many different art utensils, but I figured paint palette kind of summed it up quite nicely. It's a very recognisable image. Next up is a Digimon egg. I love all things Digimon. I grew up watching the cartoon. I'm currently playing Digimon Survive, which I'm absolutely loving, and I also have cards for the card game. Do you have a favourite Digimon? I find it really hard to choose, but I think my favourite at the moment is Biyomon. And to represent my love of Studio Ghibli and also folklore are some soot sprites. Do you have a favourite Studio Ghibli movie? I tend to toss up between Kiki's Delivery Service and My Neighbour Totoro. But I also actually quite like The Cat Returns. I guess it depends what mood I'm feeling in. To represent my love of bee and puppy cat, I drew an aubergine, otherwise known as an eggplant to you Americans. But then I thought, that has some connotations to it, so I drew a little bee by it as well, just so you know what it's in reference to. I was starting to run out of space now, so I got to the part of the project I was kind of dreading, where I'm going to have to start overlapping items. And the first item I'm going to have to overlap is the symbol that represents my love of pottery and sculpture class, which is a pot. Why I chose to put it underneath the barbed wire baseball bat, I'll never know. Maybe I'm trying to relieve some tension. Next up is a representation of computer games. Currently, I'm mostly playing games on my Switch, as I do have a PlayStation family. That's a PlayStation 2, 3 and 4. I can't quite bring myself to get a PlayStation 5 at the moment, because I don't often have access to the television at the moment. So yeah, everything's kind of happening on my Switch, and this is my really bad representation of my Switch. What are you playing on your Switch at the moment? I've always got Animal Crossing going, and like I said before, Digimon Survive. Do you have any recommendations for me? Next up, I'm drawing a Vado, which is a symbol of my Romany heritage. Being half Romany isn't always easy, especially when you don't look Romany, because you get to hear what people really think of you, without them even realising they're talking to you a Romany. So, it's not always fun, but it's something to be proud of. And here's a moustache, which represents my mentor, Howard. And here's that Shiba Inu that represents the Silent Hill series. It's one of my favourite computer game series, though I appreciate it's probably a bit scary for some. I couldn't decide what pose to draw the dog in, but in the end, I know I had to give it its controller headset. Have any of you played Silent Hill? Do you have a favourite game? I like Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 3, and Shattered Memories. And actually, you know what? I'm kind of fond of Downpour as well. You can see how I like them all. Next up are baggy trousers. I swear I live in baggy trousers these days. They're just so comfortable. And here is the key of Cloud to represent my love of Cardcaptor Sakura, as well as a lot of the other anime and manga that are created by Clamp, the creators behind Cardcaptor Sakura. Do you like Cardcaptor Sakura? Do you have a favourite Cloud card? Do you have a favourite anime or manga by Clamp, if it isn't Cardcaptor Sakura? This dice represents my love for backgammon. It's a very classic board game, and board games in general. Do you have a favourite board game? And here's a candle to represent my love of having scented bubble baths with candles. It's one of the few moments that I can have entirely to myself, so I really appreciate them. Next up is a knitting needle, well, a knitting project I guess, to represent my love of fibre arts, including knitting, crochet and tapestry. Do you do any of those crafts? Do you have a project happening at the moment? I'm really excited to start the Hobbycraft spring blanket crochet along soon. Would you like me to share my progress? I can't promise it'll be good, but hopefully we can do it together. And here is a lacrosse stick to represent my love of Mallory Towers by Enid Blyton. It's such a delightful world. I'd love to do a manga based on it one day. I'm relocating Howard's moustache, so I have room to draw Grey Charles. He's my teddy bear who I sleep with. Yes, I'm an adult and I still sleep with a teddy bear. But he brought me a lot of comfort whilst recovering from being in an abusive relationship. He also represents my love of having a good night's sleep, which frankly doesn't happen too often when you're a carer and you have an elderly cat. So I appreciate every moment I do get. Here is a rugby ball, as I really love watching international rugby. I actually quite enjoy watching international sports of all kind. I don't support any local teams for any sport, however I do enjoy international matches, as they seem so exciting. It's like modern day battling, but without anybody getting hurt, hopefully. And here's a lighthouse to represent my most favourite place in the whole of the UK. Folkestone in Kent. If you're ever in the area, I absolutely recommend giving it a visit. It's amazing for food and arts and culture, and it's got both a pebble and a sandy beach. What more could you ask for? The people are pretty friendly too. Next up is Nuffin's hat from Tove Jansson's Moomin. I love absolutely everything to do with Moomin. Do you have a favourite Moomin character? Mine is Snork Maiden and also Tootiki. Oh, and Ninny too. They're all so lovely. And finally, here is a question mark, which I'll colour green to represent the Riddler from the Batman. He might or might not be one of my Western comic book crushes. Don't tell anyone. I also adored playing the Arkham series of games so that I could defeat all the Riddler challenges. It was fun to do something cerebral rather than just beating up goons all the time. Though, you know what? Beating up goons was fun too. And now, to fill up any empty spaces I might have left, I'm going to draw in bows, hearts and flowers. I'll see you at the end of the video. Okay, so that's everything that makes me happy at the moment. Well, most of the things that make me happy at the moment sketched out. This video feels kind of long, so I'm going to leave it here for today. And next week, we'll ink and colour it. Well, thank you for making it to the end of the video with me. I'd love to know what your favourite part was if you could leave a comment in the comment section below. Which of these things make you feel happy too? If you could like, subscribe, turn on all notifications and share this video, that would be amazing. You can follow me at Enchanted Violin on Instagram, TikTok and Threads. Links will be in the description box below, as well as links to my online comic companions and my Patreon. And I'll see you next week for part 2. Bye!